Maybe we go to Rosh West Ham. I went. You can't imagine how many people were there. What? Oh, you go to the Succa. Oh.
Was it very full?
That's why you don't wear no white shirt.
See 1,000?
What?
I had Jack on as well.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure it must be thousands. It was very full. Packed. Yeah.
Busy.
Very, very big crowd.
They didn't have a Levaya, so
That's what somebody said to me. It's just like,
yeah.
So they said there's more women than men. So they said, well, no wonder. I didn't stay long. I didn't get. Okay. So who's going to the Hadzon as well? Okay. So having a sim mitzvah on Wednesday. Okay. We're up to Kaman Oslon and Gimel on the base, 2 lines from the bottom. The Mishnah was telling us the minimum and maximum amount of tekiyas that exist in Beis Hamikdash, which the minimum is 21, the maximum is 48. And the Gemara then tells us that this is Shidduch Chachamim, that they split Tekiah into 3. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that Tekiah is only 1, so the minimum is 7 to 20 to 16. So more so like this. Kaman Oslo, who does it go like Hodamav Kahana, Ein Bein Tekiah L'Torah V'Lo Klum? That you shouldn't stop between the Tekiah and the Torah. It's by the way, it's interesting to point out Rashi says V'Lo Klum, the bottom Rashi. Lo Yamasi Ben Tamelek Din Shima only for a breath. You should be aware that many Balei Tekiah, they do not breathe between Tekiah, Torah, Shvam, Tekiah, and all the rest. And halachically, there's a machlekes for showing as to whether you're yotzei in such a thing. The reason being, because everybody's in a rush. What happens is there's a pressure, and sometimes take a big, deep breath, and it's much easier to do like a whole set and then to breathe again. Instead of breathing every time, you start getting, that's the right word. Thank you. Hyperventilating. But you see from this Rashi, the Rashi held that you do need to breathe. I explained to you why Rashi is saying that. It was where we see Rashi. The Gemara is saying, don't stop between the Tekiah and the Torah. It says Rashi, don't stop, only a breath. Why does Rashi have to say that? Meaning Rashi understood,
Breath's not called a stop.
you have to have a breath. That is important. Don't stop more than that. But a breath you should have. What happens if you don't breathe, whether you're yotzei or not? Okay, it's a side point. So the Kana says you shouldn't stop. Who does it go like? It says, come on, Rabbi Yehuda. It's going like Rabbi Yehuda. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, Tekiah to Tekiah is 1 mitzvah. According to the Chachamim, it's 3 mitzvahs. You could do Tekiah at 9 o'clock in the morning, Torah at 10 o'clock, and the next Tekiah at 12 o'clock. The fact that he says don't stop is a right that he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that's all 1 mitzvah. He says, well, you could Rabbi Yehuda Pshitas, of course, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you shouldn't stop, it's 1 mitzvah. He says no. Nundalad or Mundalad. Now the tema maybe it's going to come to Chachamim. Ula fukim Rabbi Yehuda Dama Shema Teisha Tekiyos B'Teisha Shos B'Yom Yotza. Rabbi Yehuda holds indeed, you can listen to the Tekiyos right for the day. Minatur, you only need to hear 9. The Tekiah, a Torah, and Tekiah. That's all you need to hear on Rosh Hashanah. How do we hear? 100 or 200, depends how many Tekiyos you have after davening. Why do we hear so many? Rashi actually here tells us a bit why. Because we don't know whether a Torah is a Torah or Shvam or Shvam Torah. But Rabbi Yehuda holds that you can listen to them scattered throughout the day. So you might have thought this is like this. There's right through the day, there's no pause at all, and there's a small pause, but not right through the day. The Gemara explained Rav Kahana has been saying you shouldn't have a pause at all, like Rav Yehuda. Says the Gemara, maybe that's not what Rav Kahana meant. Maybe Rav Kahana was trying to say you can have a pause, but not right through the day, a small pause, and it's like the main thing is trying to exclude from Rav Yehuda. So that's not what he's trying to say, but rather that it's forbidden to have any pause. Maybe indeed all he's trying to tell us is not to have a long pause. How do we see that he's trying to teach us like a Yehuda not to have any pause at all? The words of Kahana were there should be no pause at all. V'lo klum means nothing. So therefore, he's not coming to just to exclude from Rabbi Yochanan. He's actually coming to exclude much more than Rabbi Yochanan. He's coming to exclude that you shouldn't have a break at all. And that must be Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. Okay. So that's the end of the discussion. As you said, we pass like the Chamna, it's 3 different mitzvahs. The Maisa, we hold, there's a hard that we hold that you should have, what's the word for it? You should have a break, right? Okay. The Maisa says, Machlokas, Chacham Rabbi Yehuda, when it's geared towards kids, 3 mitzvahs and 1 mitzvah, and afkminas regarding having a break in between. Now we're going back to the halachas of the Nisuch HaMayim. So if the Nisuch HaMayim was on a Friday, so then what happened was the Mishnah counts out that there were many, many tekiyas. There were 12 tekiyas because of the Nisuch HaMayim, plus another 6 because of the Shabbos. That's altogether 12 and 6 is 18. Plus 3 sets of 9 for 2 of the Talmud and 1 on the Musaf, coming to 21 plus 18 is 38, and then you had another 6 for the Psichas Shalom. Mishnah calculates them all. So the more asks the Kasha, the Mishnah doesn't mention about blowing the shofar on the 10th step, which it did mention in the previous Mishnah. Says the we're going to have a machlokas tanoim. Everybody agrees there were 12 tekiyas. The question is, when were the 12 tekiyas? That means there were 4 sets of 3. And the question is, where were these sets? So the Gemara says, the Tanya, 3 was for the 10th step. 3 when they poured the water on the Mizbeach. And Rashi gives another explanation, 3 when they leaned their robbers on the Mizbeach. It says like this. You either hold the one or the other. You don't do both. So you either do 3 tekiyas when it goes on to the 10th step, or 3 tekiyas when you pour it on the Mizbeach. My Tamid of Lesben Yaakov. Even the talk of Psicha Shoim, the Mala Asiris normally the talk. I love Shahu. What's the purpose of blowing on the 10th step? It's not an entrance, not a gate. You're not doing anything new. You're just going down the stairs. Why should you blow? But I'm sorry, given the talk of the middle of mind, since you've already blown shofar when you drew the water out of the spring, normally, why should you draw? Why should you blow again when you pour the mizbeach? If it is better to do it on 10th step. So everybody agrees that you blew 12 times for Nisuch HaMayim. I mean, it's interesting. What happens is like this: you actually have 3 different Mishnayos that discuss the blowing of the shofar on Sukkot. One is on Daf Memches Amud, which says that when they drew water, when they got to Shamayim, they do Tekiyah to a Tekiyah. That is one place. And then you've got the next Mishnah on Nun Amud Aleph, where the Mishnah says, Nun Aleph Amud Beis, where it says that they blew when they opened the Shah HaMayim, and then they blew again Mala Asiris. They blew again when they got to the Azor, and then you've got, besides for that, the previous Mishnah when they blew when they drew the water. So it's altogether 12. Says about also Achba Chanina Midroim. The Rabbi Chanina came from the south. I see my slita be a day. He brought a brice in his hands. But when they are not creating Yisku Bachatzoitzos, they should blow on the Chatzoitzos. She'ain Tamodeh by Yisku Shka Nema Uskata Bachatzoitzos Ala Leisech Vaziv Cheshamichem Matamodeh Yisku. The Pasuk says, if they are not creating Yisku Bachatzoitzos, they shall blow the Chatzoitzos. The word they should blow the Chatzoitzos is spare. They could have said if they are not creating Bachatzoitzos should be on the trumpets. Obviously, what do you do with trumpets? You blow them. The fact that it needs to say Yisku Bachatzoitzos is spare. Says Yisku Hakol Lefia Misofin Toik. According to the Musaf, you blow. The Gemara says, "Who Tanila he learned it." Ruamalo explained it. For every Musaf, you blow another 9 tekiyas. Let's get this clear. That means he came along with a advice. And many times they would do this. Would come along with a statement, but not always was it clear what the statement meant. So he came along with a statement, and then he explained what the statement meant. So the statement asks the question, why is it need to say Yisku b'chatzotzos, the shablo the chatzotzos? The word Yisku is spare to teach you that according to the Musafin, that's how much you blow, which he explains, that you blow according to the numbers of Musafin. So for example, on Shabbos, which is the Chodesh, How many times would you blow the shofar? How much?
2 times 9.
2 times 9. 9 for the Shabbos, 9 for the Rosh Chodesh, plus another 9 for the Kol Tamid in the morning, another 9 for the afternoon, and etc., etc. But 18. What would happen on Rosh Hashanah? How many times would you blow shofar? Every Rosh Hashanah is also Rosh Chodesh. So you'd have to blow 9 for Rosh Hashanah, 9 for Rosh Chodesh, 9 for the Kol Tamid in the morning, 9 for the Kol Tamid in the afternoon. So you'd always have a minimum of 36 before you started anything else. Is that clear? That means this comes with a big chiddush step. So another 9 for this, for every musaf, another 9. Okay. To 9. Now we're going to examine this, and you need to keep track of the numbers. Erev Shabbos Shvasei Chachak. If Friday was on Sukkot, Hoyusham Memchesto 48, and that the Mishnah tells us was the maximum. Let's see if we can remember the 48. That in fact the maximum you ever had was on Sukkot, which was a Friday. 3 when they opened the gates. 6 because it's Erev Shabbos, that's 9. 9 for the morning Talmud, 9 for the afternoon Talmud. You've got 9 times 3, 27. Now where's the other 20? Another 12 for the Nisuch HaMayim. That is 39. And another 9 for what? Another 9 for the Musaf. Another 9 for the Musaf. It's 48 because it's Sukkot. Another 9 for the Sukkot is 48. V'misa, if it is true that you blow another 9 for every set of Musaf, we're up to 15 lines from the bottom of the page. And we're now saying a chiddush that every time you have a korban Musaf, you always blow another 9 times. It says, well, if that's true, list is Shabbos Shvasei Chachak. You can have a case of 51. Let's see if we can work it out ourselves. What's 51 on Shabbos Chol HaMoed Sukkos? So again, 3 for opening the gates, 9 for the 2 Tmidim. So that's 18. 9 for each Talmud. There's 18 for the 2 Tmidim, plus 3 for opening the gates. We're up to 21. 9 for the Musaf of Shabbos, 30. 9 for the Musaf of Sukkos is 39. 12 for the Nisuch HaMayim is 51. And the Mishnah says the maximum we ever got to was 48. On Shabbos, he never blew for opening the gates. Why did you open the gates? Oh, it's an important part of the Avodah. Who's this? Many people, when you grind grain, you want to get a fine flour. If you don't care, what happens is, if you're careless, you just grind the grain. You don't care if you get coarse flour. Meaning you speak without thinking about what you're saying. Rava was very upset with Zera's answer. Why? The Mishnah says every single day they blew 3 when they opened up the gates. Every day seems like it's saying, including Shabbos. Okay, let's say indeed they didn't blow shofar to open up the gates. So how many would you have on Shabbos Chol HaMoed Sukkos? 48. Nevertheless, listen to Shabbos. Let's at least teach us that on Shabbos Chol HaMoed Sukkos is 48. The Shvas V'Notarti, we would learn 2 separate halachas from that. What would we learn? Shvas V'Notarti Ben Yaakov, we learn that to Shvas Ben Yaakov says that they never blew shofar on the 10th step, but they only blew shofar when they poured the water. So Rava asks 2 questions. If it's true that you blow 9 for every musaf, teach me the halacha that Shabbos Chol HaMoed Sukkos you blow 48, because then we would learn the halacha that for every musaf you blow an extra 9. Plus, he says, anyway, you're wrong, because you say that you don't blow shofar, you open the gate, it says to do, it says every day. If you ain't taking the middle mind of Shabbos, you don't blow for the drawing of the water on Shabbos. How many was the 2 for the water always? 12. So the Botzri 2, but there's much less. So how many would they be according to Rava Shabbos Chol HaMoed Sukkos? How many times would they blow? 39 or 36. I like your answer. 39 or 36. Why 39 or 36? Rava really would say 39. Why? 3 for opening the gates. Okay, well, let's that. 3 for opening the gates. Then for every musaf. So you've got, for every korban, Talmud of the morning, Talmud of the afternoon, Shabbos musaf, Sukkot musaf, each one's 9, that's 36. Plus the 3 for the gates is 39. Now, why he said 36 is because really Reb Zera argued and said that you don't do for opening the gates. Rava disagreed with him, but it's not clear if Rava disagreed with him only because of the first answer, or did he need the second answer. Furthermore, is still not satisfied. That means if it's true that for every Musaf you blow another 9, but listening Nami, Rosh Hashanah Shchalios b'Shabbos. If Rosh Hashanah is a Shabbos, how many would you have? 36 before you start. Why? 2 Tamid is 18. 2 Musafid is 18 is 36. Plus 3 for opening the gates is 39. Oh, but you still made a mistake. But there's another one. There's also it's Shabbos, it's Rosh Hashanah, and it's Rosh Chodesh. So you've got what? So you've got 5 times 9 is 45, plus opening the gates is 48. Let's get it clear. Again, for every Musaf you do 9. It's Shabbos, it's Rosh Hashanah, it's Rosh Chodesh, plus the time of the morning, plus the afternoon. For each one you do 9, it's 45, plus opening the gates is 48. There's 3 Musafin, Musaf Rosh Hashanah, Musaf Rosh Chodesh, Musaf Shabbos. Says no. Erev Shabbos v'Seicha Chag Itzich Le'Ashminon Kedablez. When Yaakov wants to teach us, Allah when Yaakov that you only blew shofar when you pour the water in his beach, not on the 10th gate, 10th step. Then go to me, come on. Did we just say listen up, listen up? Teach me this one, not this one. Listen up, listen up. Tell me them all. The Mishnah wanted to tell you when was the maximum amount of blowing. So what happened was the Mishnah found the case a Friday which is Sukkot. Friday Gemara. Tell me Rosh Hashanah. So Moses says, no, there's a special chiddush about Shabbos Rosh Hashanah, which is, that you don't blow shofar on the 10th step. Furthermore, tell me all of them. Tell me Rosh Hashanah, which is Shabbos. Tell me Shabbos, which is Sukkot. And each one will tell me its own chiddush. The one of Shabbos, which is Sukkot, will teach me the chiddush of Rez ben Yaakov, that you don't blow shofar on the 10th step. The chiddush of Rosh Hashanah, which is the Shabbos, what would that teach you? That for every Muslim, you do another 9. Even that's Chazal Sheikh still on the catching. Again, if you'd have to have, you'd get 40. So that would be a very chiddush. Tell that this Shushav Achat taught us. So the Gemara says Tana Vishir. The Tana doesn't always tell us everything. It says, well, my shir, the high shir. This is a line which Gemara uses many times in Shas. Let's get it clear. The rule is that we never miss out 1. You might miss out 2 or 3, but you never miss out 1. The logic being like this: if I tell you a list and I miss out 1, the question is, why would I miss that out? If I miss out more than 1, you could say like this. The Mishnah told us a case of 48, but there's another few cases of 48. The Mishnah couldn't tell us them all. So the Mishnah just chose 1. But if there's only 2 cases of 48, so then the Mishnah would not have told us 1 and not the other. The logic being that you're not going to purposely just miss out 1, because why would you do such a thing? If there's a number of the ones, you can't start telling them all, so you miss them out. But to miss just 1, with that we never do. So the Lord says, which one did you miss out? That means we've got so far. How many do we know that you blew 48 on so far? 2, which 2? Right. Rosh Hashanah, which is a Shabbos, and Erev Shabbos, Friday, which is a Sukkot. Friday, Chol Hamoed Sukkot. Says, well, Shir, Pesach, missed that Erev Pesach. Top of Nun Daled Amud Beis. And Erev Pesach, everyone would check the Korban Pesach. Every time they check the Korban Pesach, they would blow 9 times. Why 9 times? Because while they'd been the Korban Pesach, they would say the Hallel. And Chazal tell us in Succa, we learned that they would say the Hallel 3 times. For every Hallel, they would blow 3 times. For every, how many groups were there on Erev Pesach? 3 groups. So every Erev Pesach, before you started, you had 27. Get it clear. 3 groups. Each group would say the Hallel 3 times. For every Hallel, you'd say 3 Tekiyas. That's 27. 3 times 3 times 2, 27. Besides for that, you've got the 9 of the first Talmud, 9 of the last Talmud, plus 3 for opening the gates. So you've got 21. 21 plus 27 is 48. So every Erev Pesach, you had 48. So you've got 3 cases of 48. So the Mishnah told us one of the 3, didn't bother telling us all of them. Says in more, it's not. He holds that the 3rd set didn't finish Hallel. Now, Rashi says that even according to the Chacham, they didn't always finish Hallel. But when would they blow shofar? They blow shofar at the beginning of the reading of the Hallel. So since they would read the Hallel 3 times, 3 different groups, and each time blow shofar 3 times, it's 27. But Rabbi Yehuda held that the 3rd group only read the Hallel once, and they never even got to the 2nd reading of the Hallel. So how many times was the Hallel read? 3 times in the 1st group, 3 times in the 2nd group, and once started in the 3rd group. That's only 7 times Hallel. And each time Hallel is only 3 blowing. So that's only 21. 21 plus 21 is 42. You haven't got 48. Says the Gemara. We said Amish is not like Rabbi Yehuda. How do you know Amish is not like Rabbi Yehuda?
Because of the 51.
No. Very good. Rabbi Yehuda counts 3 blowing as 1, not 3. So our mission is not like Rabbi Yehuda. So our mission is like the Chomim. And the Chomim say they did read the Hallel 9 times. If they read the Hallel 9 times, it's back to 27. Back to 27, we've got 48. If we've got 48, so the Mishnah missed out a couple, and therefore the answer is okay. It says, well, still I've got a kasha. Maybe the one who wrote the Mishnah held like Rabbi Yehuda, that they never said the Hallel 3 times in the third group. They disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda regarding making the tkiyah to a mitzvah, except the 3 mitzvahs. Says the Gemara, Elamai shir dai shir sheva Pesach shcholios beva Shabbos apik shis vayil shis. A Friday which is Erev Pesach, you'll always have 48. Very briefly, 3 for opening up the Beis Hamikdash, 6 because it's Erev Shabbos. That's 9. Another 2 sets of 9 for the common Talmud. It's 27. Reading the Hallel 7 times according to Rabbi Yehuda is another 21. So you got 48. So somebody would say to you, how many times did they blow the shofar? 48 times. How many can you think of?
3.
Yeah, I would have said 4 actually.
Rosh
Rosh Hashanah, which is a Shabbos, is 48. Erev Shabbos, which is a Friday, which is Succa, is 48. Erev Pesach, which is a Friday. And every Erev Pesach, according to the Chachamim, they blew 48. So therefore you've got, in fact, Erev Pesach, which is an Erev Shabbos, how many would they blow? Much more than 48. They would have to blow 54.
Another 6 for Erev Shabbos.
Another 6 for Erev Shabbos, which is a question which we should discuss. Okay. So the Gemara now goes back now. Here the Gemara interrupts, we'll come back to it. Okay, but anyway, see if now Memches. Oh, let's see what the Gemara says. Because later was going to come back to Rabbi Pesach, which is on the Shabbos itself. Why? If Erev Pesach is a Shabbos, you're going to have even more than 48. Why? You're going to have 51. If Pesach is a Shabbos, so then again, got 9 times 2 for the 2 Tvidim is 18. 9 for the Musaf of Shabbos is 27. Then you've got, according to the Chachamim, you've got 27 because of the Korban Pesach is already 54. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you've got 48. You've got 27 plus 21 plus you've got the 3 of opening the gates. So you've got altogether 51. Says the Gemara. The Gemara says that we didn't want to talk about a Pesach, which is a Shabbos, because it doesn't happen every year. I mean, it is possible to have 57, but the truth of the matter is, it doesn't happen so often. So therefore, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about something that doesn't happen every year. Hey, the Gemara. It is possible. The Mishnah said one of the cases. The Mishnah says the case of 48 is a Friday, which is Sukkot. Is there always going to be a Friday on Sukkot? No, not necessarily. Why? Work it out. It's like this. If you have Erev Sukkot, if Erev Sukkot is a Friday, because if Sukkot comes on a Shabbos, and on a Sunday, if Sukkot comes on a Sunday, and what happens is, let's work it out clearly. If
Sukkot is 7 days.
It has to be Shabbos, otherwise it would be a Friday.
If Sukkot is 7 days, one day must be Friday.
Yeah.
no, not necessarily. With the Chol Yom Tovishel Be'er Shabbos. No, without including Sukkot. Wait a second. If we're Yom Tovishel Be'er Shabbos, if Thursday Sukkot is a Friday, you will not have Friday of Sukkot. Why not? Friday Chol. Why? Let's work it out. If Sukkot, the first day Sukkot is a Friday, so we don't do the Nisach HaMayim. We don't do Nisach HaMayim because it's not Derech Shabbos. So we don't do the 12. So again, the first day Sukkot was a Friday. First day Sukkot was Friday, Thursday night. So first day Sukkot was Friday. By the time you get to the next Friday, it is already Shmini Atzeres. And Shmini Atzeres, you don't have the 12. So this thing that there'll be 48 when it is a Friday of Sukkot is not always true. Because if Friday is your first day Sukkot, it's Yom Tov. Yom Tov, we don't do the 12 of the shofar. So again, you won't have 48. Says the Gemara, no. We never have sukkahs coming on a Friday. You will never have sukkahs coming on a Friday, because if sukkahs would come on a Friday, Yom Kippur would be on a Sunday. By the time if sukkahs comes on a Friday, Yom Kippur members have a Shabbos. We don't want Yom Kippur to ever be a Sunday. You'll never find Yom Kippur a Sunday or Friday. Why should Yom Kippur not be a Sunday or Friday? So we're going to debate Rosh Hashanah actually soon, and they will discuss at great length. But the Gemara says two reasons. One is if somebody dies on Erev Yom Kippur, on those 2 days, you're going to have to wait 2 days to bury him, because we don't bury anybody on Shabbos or on Yom Kippur. Also, you can't cook on Shabbos and Yom Kippur, which would mean that you'd be very hard pressed to find food for Motzei Yom Kippur. So we never have Yom Kippur Friday or Sunday. Since we don't have Yom Kippur on a Sunday, so Sukkot can never be a Friday. So therefore, since Sukkot can never be a Friday, every single year you will always have Chol HaMoed Sukkot, which is a Friday. And that's why you'll always have that 48. Says the Gemara, it's not true. The Mishnah says that if Yom Kippur is a Sunday, and you bought the common Tomid on Shabbos, so and you never managed to burn the common Tomid on Shabbos, you can burn it on Yom Kippur after, which is talking about Yom Kippur on a Sunday. You see clearly that the Mishnah is talking about a case Yom Kippur can't be a Sunday. Furthermore, when I was learning this, they would say like this: the halacha is that you always blow shofar just before Shabbos comes in. Why? To remind people that it's malach. If Yom Kippur was a Friday, you did not blow the shofar on Erev Shabbos. Why not? Because it's Yom Kippur, you are anyway forbidden from doing malacha all day. We don't need to remind people. It's Friday's Yom Kippur. Since Friday is Yom Kippur, you are anyway forbidden to do malacha all day. You don't need any reminders. So therefore, over Motzei Shabbos lo Yom Avdilin. It's like this. If Yom Tov is on a Sunday, what do we say? Motzei Shabbos. What do you say? Kodesh Kodesh, a special bracha called that Todiyin. If Yom Kippur is a Sunday, we don't make that bracha. We don't make that bracha. We see clearly from this brisa that Yom Kippur can be on Friday, can be on Sunday, because it's telling us the halach is what to do if Yom Kippur is on a Friday, and what the halach is on a Sunday. And what happened was, now the Gemara goes a tiny tangent. I was told that this statement, those two statements, if Yom Kippur is on a Friday, you don't blow shofar, and if Yom Kippur is on a Sunday, you don't say Vatodenu. I was told everybody agrees with it. When I came to it, now, in fact, this statement is a machlokas. We're not going to come to it now, but we'll see in Moshana there's actually a machlokas whether we say Vatodenu or Motzei Yom Kippur or Motzei Shabbos, which is Yom Kippur. So anyway, we've seen from both this brisa that talks about Yom Kippur on Friday and Sunday, and from the Mishnah that talks about the fats of the common tomit that can be burnt on Shabbos, on Yom Kippur, which is after Shabbos, that Yom Kippur can be on Sunday. Since Yom Kippur can be on Sunday, Sukkot can be a Friday. If Sukkot can be a Friday, so then it's possible that you will not have a Friday, which is Chol HaMoed Sukkot. If you will not have a Friday, which is Chol HaMoed Sukkot, you will never have that 48, which the Mishnah is talking about. And the more explained that the reason why the Mishnah talks about that one and not the Pesach one is because it's every year. It says, well, that's not true. It's not every year because it's actually possible to have a Friday, which is not. It's a machlokas tanoim. Can you have Yom Kippur on a Sunday? The Tanya Achim oimim ein ben atzeres ein Rosh Hashanah Rosh Hashanah le'arba yomim b'vad. There's never more than 4 days. I explain Achivim outside. It's very nice. Kishmak is actually, at some level, makes big enough good to the calendar. It's the end of Mishmor, end of Chilek Dalet. We all know that the moon takes approximately 29 and a half days to go around the earth. So therefore, Rosh Chodesh is sometimes 29 days, sometimes 30 days. Achivim, which is a mayor, holds that we keep it very, very uniform. Every single month is exact. Every Tishri is 30, every Cheshvan is 29, every Kislev is 30, every Tevis is 29. It's always 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 29. If you have an Ibaya, like this, you have 2 Adors, the extra Ador is like Ador, it's 29, not 30, right? So now, if I tell you Rosh Hashanah this year is a Tuesday, I can be sure when next Rosh Hashanah will be. Why? Because if every month is 12 months to the year, and every month is either 30, 29, half the months are 29, half the months are 30, that's like a normal year, not an every year, not a duados. So you've got 12 months, half the months 30 days, half are 29. Every month, if it would be 28 days, you'd actually have a Chodesh on the same day of the week as the previous one, because 28 days fits exactly into 7. But the problem is that 6 of them are 29 days, and 6 of them are 30 days. Because of the 6 or 29, we add 6 days to the 28, because there are 6, that means 28 we ignore, because that would come out to the exact same day. But 6 months or 29, so that adds 6 days. 6 months or 30, that adds 12 days. 12 plus 6 is 18 days. So every year, you have 18 days more than the normal months of 28. 18 days divides 2 weeks is 14 days plus 4 days, meaning that every year, if Rosh Hashanah is a Tuesday this year, the next year will be a Shabbos. The year after, it will be a Wednesday. You can always be sure that that's how it will be. There will always be 4 days apart, right? Amen. According to Amir. If it's an Ibba year, how many days apart will there be? An extra day, 5 days, because Ador is 29. Again, according to Achevim, we never mess around with the calendar. The calendar is completely fixed. 30, 29, 30, always start off. So you said the way to remember it is that the months that have more Yomim Tovim are 30, the ones that have less Yomim Tovim are 29. So Tishrei is 30, Cheshvan is 29. Kislev is 30, because Chanukah Tevis is 29. Nisan is 30, it's got Pesach, Iyar is 29. Simon's got Shavuos, is 30. Okay, that's how you... Now, we don't actually keep to it 100%, but because sometimes we do change things to Cheshvan, Kislev, Mon, and Chosa. But the fact is, that is the general rule. So now, according to Achemim, you're sometimes going to have Yom Kippur on a Friday or Sunday. Because he says you don't touch the calendar. It's always exactly that way. If it's always exactly that way, it comes out that you can't change. Masha'inkin, according to the Chachamim, they don't agree. They say we're allowed to mess around, add a day, minus a day, etc. So therefore, it's not always going to be exactly 4 days apart or 5 days apart. So therefore, come on, we've got Machlokes Tanoim, whether it is possible for Yom Kippur to ever be a Friday or Sunday. Machlokes Tanoim. Regarding that Machlokes, we're saying as follows. Our Mishnah holds that Yom Kippur can never be a Sunday. Since Yom Kippur can never be a Sunday, Sukkot can never be a Friday. Since Sukkot can never be a Friday, you'll always have Chol HaMoed Sukkot, which is a Friday. So you'll always have that 48. You won't always have that big number of Erev Pesach, which is a Shabbos, because then you'll have much, much more. Okay. Basically, we're going back to Rabbi Acha now. Rabbi Acha told us, what was the Chiddush of Rabbi Acha? What did Rabbi Acha teach us today? No, that was Elazar ben Yaakov. Each Musaf gets an extra 9 tekias. So, for example, Rosh Hashanah, which is a Shabbos, you're going to blow 27 times just because of the Musaf. Right? Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Chodesh, and Shabbos. Amazing. Rosh Chodesh is the Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh is Shabbos. Shul Shul Rosh Chodesh Teichas Shul Shabbos. We push away the song of Rosh Chodesh because we push away the song of Shabbos for Rosh Chodesh. If it is true, Levi Shabbos, Levi Rosh Chodesh. You just said that we blow extra 9 times. Extra 9 times means that we've got more time. We do a whole new song. Always used to blow with the singing. So you said there's extra 9 tekias, extra song. So why can't you do both? It doesn't mean that we don't do the Shul Shul. We do both. But we do the Shul Shul Chodesh first. We have a general rule that anything that comes more frequently comes first. So therefore, Todesh be first. What happened was, people will not always know it was Rosh Chodesh because they didn't always see the new moon. So therefore, we wanted people to know it was Rosh Chodesh. So therefore, we made the Shul Rosh Chodesh first. The Gemara, the higher care of Dinon, is that the only recognizable way? Higher care of the Achita of Dinon, the Tanya. What was like this? You would shech the korban tomit, you would cut it up into pieces, we learned this in Yoma, you would give it to the Kohanim would put it on the ramp, then they would go and do a lot of other avoidance. Anybody know which other avoidance they would do? What other avoidance would they do? They would clean out the menorah, clean out the keteras, remark to the keteras, etc. And then they would take it from the ramp and put it on the fire. But they did not want that people should forget which is the Korban Tomit. Why did they not want people to forget which limbs of the Korban Tomit? Why is it so important to know which limbs of the Korban Tomit? No. The halacha is that nothing is allowed to be put on the fire before the limbs of the Korban Tomit. So what happened was, let's say it was a Chodesh. So what happened was you shech the Korban Tomit, cut up into pieces, put the limbs on the ram. Then you go and do the Musaf, cut the limbs, put the limbs on the ram. But if you put them on the same place, somebody might take the Rosh Chodesh limbs, put them on the fire before you put the Korban Tomit, which is no good. So if we always made sure there was a designated area for the limbs of the Korban Tomit, the limbs of the Rosh Chodesh, and we put the limbs of the Rosh Chodesh on the right and the limbs of the on the Korban Tomit on the left. So the point is that there's machlokes tanoim which around they did it. Okay, Rosh Chodesh, that is. If it was Rosh Chodesh limbs, that is not enormous, not like Shabbos, but Rosh Chodesh. They put it below the kalkuf. The Omar, the top of the Nehem would die. If we finish in a minute, top of the Nehem. It was a way that people should know that Rosh Chodesh was Rosh Chodesh. As about Shrei of Dinon, we did two kinds of things to recognize: the Chazi Hai Chazi, the Chazi B'Hai Chazi. People should know that was Rosh Chodesh, and everybody would have to have a different way of noticing. Again, there were two ways to notice Rosh Chodesh. One is they would do the Shush Rosh Chodesh first, and the other was where they put the limbs of Rosh Chodesh. I want to explain where they put the limbs of Rosh Chodesh. We talked about it yesterday. There was a ramp. How long was the ramp? 32. How wide was it? 16. So you'd split the 16 and a half, 8 and 8, put limbs of the Korban Tomit on one side, limbs of the Shabbos on the other. If it was Rosh Chodesh, you put it high on the ramp. The ramp had to reach the height of how high? 9 amos. The Kalkov was a special ledge that went around the Mizbeach. How high was the ledge? It was 6 amos high, approximately 3.5 meters according to the Chazon Ish, which is quite high, about twice the height of this room. You must remember the Kohen would walk on a ledge 60 centimeters wide, without a fence, and if it would fall off, not dead, 3.5 meters, I don't know.
It's a headache.
Anyway, now the ramp, this is slightly the ramp, when you would come to Rosh Chodesh, we would put the limbs on the ramp to the height of the Kalkov. So now I ask you, approximately where on the ramp would they put it?
Just over 2/3.
2/3, that's what you would say, mathematician. Because the 9 amos going to the height, the Kalkov is 6 amos high, so you need to go 2/3 past the height of the ramp. Look at this. If you look at the last line of Rashi on Nunhei Mudal, if he says what David says without quoting him by name, it says, you'd have to go up 2/3 of the ramp to put the Korban Musaf. And that's where they would put the limbs. So that would be 2 ways. So let's just summarize, because we're going to come back to this tomorrow. I'm going to stop it over here. Rabbi came along and told us a tremendous chiddush, which was that for every Musaf, you have another 9 kolos. We asked the question that it's mashma that Rosh Chodesh pushes away Shabbos. We said it doesn't push it away, he just does it first. Why does it do it first? To know that's Rosh Chodesh. We stopped 3 lines from the top Meisvei, another kashan of Acher, and we're going to come back to it from tomorrow. So this big chiddush of Acher, I think, wow, almost finished on the Sechta. Very good. Okay, any questions?
Rosh Chodesh, why didn't you wait an extra 5 minutes and say they must know afterwards, 5 minutes later?
Because what if people already know it's Rosh Chodesh?
5 minutes later, 5 minutes
I don't know how long the singing took. It could be a long time.
It's not the first thing in the morning, so it's a little bit later on his day.